The conversation ended hours ago. Maybe it was with a friend, a colleague, a family member. Maybe it lasted 10 minutes. But here you are, replaying it, word by word, moment by moment. And somewhere in the middle of that replay, you find it. The thing you should have said. The sentence that would have made everything clearer. The boundary you almost set, but didn't. The honest answer you replaced with a safe one. And now, it is too late. The moment has passed, and all you can do is run the conversation again. This time saying everything you actually meant. If this is familiar to you, this video is going to explain something important. Not just why you do this, but what it reveals about the kind of person you genuinely are. Most people who replay conversations have been told at some point that they think too much, that they need to let things go, that the other person has probably already forgotten the whole exchange. But this completely misses what is actually happening. Replaying a conversation is not a sign of anxiety or weakness. It is a sign of depth. It is what happens when a person cares enough about their relationships and their impact on other people to go back and examine what happened with real honesty. The people who never replay conversations are not more at peace. They are simply less invested. Because here is what most people who replay conversations never find out about themselves. The replay is not the problem. The replay is the symptom of something much more interesting happening underneath. This is at the heart of almost every replay. The conversation happened in real time. Fast, pressured, socially complex. And something stopped you. Maybe the moment moved too quickly. Maybe you felt the right words forming, but the timing closed before they could come out. And so, you said something safer. Something that kept the peace, but left you feeling like you had abandoned yourself in the process. And then, the replay begins. Not because you are obsessive, because your mind is trying to finish something that was left incomplete. The replay is the conversation your authentic self needed to have, running in the space where the real one fell short. Research on self-silencing behavior shows that people who suppress their genuine response in social situations experience significantly higher levels of internal rumination afterward. The mind does not let go of what the moment did not allow to be expressed. In the moment you went quiet, you nodded when you meant to push back. You agreed to something you did not fully agree with. You softened a truth that deserved to be said plainly. And you did this not because you are weak, but because in real time, the social pressure to keep things smooth is enormous. Most people comply with that pressure without noticing. You comply and then notice, deeply and persistently, in the hours that follow. The replay is where your real voice finally speaks. It is where you say the thing you meant, hold the boundary you dropped, ask the question you swallowed. And the painful irony is that this version of you, the one in the replay, is often clearer and more fully yourself than the version that showed up in the actual conversation. The replay is not a sign that something is wrong with you. It is evidence that you have a strong inner voice that simply has not yet found consistent permission to speak out loud. And this leads directly to the third trait, which explains why the replay is so relentlessly precise and why it refuses to simply fade away. Every replay is a forensic examination. You are not just remembering the conversation, you are analyzing it, looking for the exact moment where something shifted, the word that landed wrong, the pause that meant something. Most people experience a conversation as a general impression. It went well, or it did not. You experience it as a sequence of specific moments, each carrying its own weight. This is not rumination. This is relational intelligence at a high level. Research on social cognition shows that people who mentally replay social interactions in detail score significantly higher on measures of interpersonal accuracy, the ability to correctly read what other people are actually feeling. You are replaying it because your mind is genuinely trying to understand something, and it will not stop until it does. And the fourth trait is the one that most people who replay conversations find the most surprising about themselves, because it reframes the entire experience. Here is something that sets people who replay conversations apart from people who simply worry about how they came across. When you replay a conversation, you do not only replay your own words, you replay theirs too. You wonder what they meant by a particular phrase. You consider what they might have been feeling underneath what they said. You notice the moment their tone shifted, and you try to understand why. You are not just reviewing your own performance. You are trying to genuinely understand another human being from the inside out. This is empathy operating at a depth that most people never reach. Research on perspective taking consistently shows that people who mentally reconstruct the experiences of others, rather than simply their own, demonstrate significantly stronger empathic accuracy and build deeper and more trusting long-term relationships. The replay that feels like a burden is actually one of the most generous things you do. It is your mind refusing to reduce another person to a surface impression. It is you taking someone else seriously enough to try to truly understand them, even after the conversation is over. For many people, this pattern connects to something deeper than personality. Growing up in environments where direct expression was discouraged, where keeping the peace mattered more than speaking the truth, teaches people to go quiet in the moment and process privately afterward. If you grew up in a home where certain things simply were not said, you likely learned early that your inner voice was safer kept inside. The replay became the place where that voice could finally speak. And here is what all of this points toward. Because the replay is not something to be stopped. It is something to be listened to. Awareness is where everything starts. The next time you notice a replay beginning, instead of trying to shut it down, try asking it one simple question. What was I trying to say that I did not say? Not what should I have said to win or to sound better. What was the true thing I held back? Because that is what the replay is carrying. And once you know what it is, you have something more useful than a perfect response to a conversation that has already ended. You have information about what you actually need to say the next time. The growth is not in perfecting the replay. It is in practicing saying the true thing in the moment, before the replay has to carry it for you. This week, in one conversation, try saying one true thing that you would normally hold back. Not a confrontation, just one honest sentence that reflects what you actually think or feel. Small, direct, real. And notice what happens when the replay begins later, because it will begin with significantly less to carry. If this video felt like it was written about you, share it with someone who would recognize themselves in it too. And if you want to understand yourself and grow a little more every single week, subscribe to Mindra Explained. It is completely free and there is something new every week made just for you. See you next time.